Just begin by noticing all of your toes, the balls of your feet, and the heels of your feet. And then taking a wide inhale through your nose if you can, and then a sigh. Just breathing out your mouth, letting any tension go, and then repeating that. So inhaling, taking a wide breath through your nose, expanding through your ribs, and then a sigh out the mouth. And feel for finding that little bit of sound in the back of your throat on the exhale. So as you inhale through your nose, you're going wide with your ribs. And then you're just making a little bit of a whisper sound in the back of your throat to make your exhale longer. Like you're fogging up your glasses or a mirror. Good. Trying to get every last bit of air out. You can switch to breathing through your nose if you'd like. Just inhaling through your nose and also exhaling through your nose if that works for you. You can experiment with still trying to make that exhale long and just finding if that works for your body. You can use the Ujjayi breathing if you know it, where you've got that same sound in the back of your throat, but you've got your mouth closed. So you're breathing out your nose, but there's a feeling in the back of your throat as you do it. It's almost like you're sighing against the back of your lips. Good. Now noticing where you're touching the floor with your back, your arms, and the back of your head. And let's begin to rock the pelvis when you're ready. You could exhale to press the low back down and inhale to rock the pelvis forward, creating a space between your low back and the floor. Let's do that several times, just moving at your own pace. Good. Now, next time you press the back down on that exhale, let's continue and bring the right knee in. Give it a squeeze, and then inhale. Let's place the right foot down and reach your arms overhead. And then exhale, bring the left knee in. Inhale, foot goes down, arms overhead. Just going side to side a few times at your own pace. Good. Next time you bring your arms overhead, let's exhale, press the low back down and bring both knees into your belly. Good. Give them a squeeze, and then you can either rock a little bit side to side, or you can make circles with your knees and then change directions. Good. Now let's come to center with the knees. And if it feels okay, let's place the arms down on the floor, keeping the knees where they are. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, let's engage your abdominal muscles and just move the knees so that they're stacked right over the hips. Let's bring the ankles in line with the knees. Good. So you're using your abdominal muscles here. You can press the back down if it helps you, or you can keep it in neutral. Try to relax your arms, relax your jaw. Now you may remember a few weeks ago when we did this with a band around our ankles. We're going to do it without a band here. And we're working on building up that hip flexor strength, okay? So what we're gonna do is you can always stay right where you are. This might be enough work for you. If you want more, could exhale very slowly, start to kick that right leg straight out in front while keeping the abdominals engaged and the back not arching more. And then inhale back to center and exhale left leg. And inhale back to center. So you're really working your abdominals, and you'll be working the hip flexors as well. You might feel either or. I feel it more in my abdominals right now when I do this with the band. I feel it more in my hip flexors, but it might be the opposite for you. So be real honest with yourself if you're engaging your abdominals. Try not to let this back arch like this and just move them like this, right? Really keep engaged, moving from the center. Couple more. I'm really feeling this, okay? Good, and then placing the feet back on the floor when you're ready. Let's take the feet wide with the knees bent. Spread out the arms and windshield wiper your knees side to side. I could take a sigh or two. Good, then let's come back to the center with the knees, and we'll set our feet up for a bridge pose. Actually, before we do that, let's stretch the back of the legs a little bit. Okay, so let's exhale to bring the right knee in, and inhale to straighten it up toward the ceiling, and exhale to bend again. And just repeat. You can also keep the leg up there if you'd like and roll the ankle. I'm holding behind my leg. You don't have to do that, or you could even use a strap. And noticing how the back of your leg feels as far as tightness goes. Can you relax through your jaw and your shoulders? Good, one more time. And then bending the knee, foot to the floor. Take an inhale. And exhale, bring the left knee in, and same thing, up and down or holding it up. Staying connected to your breath. Good. Okay, bending the knee, foot to the floor. I'm going to move anything out from behind my head. Arms can be where they feel best, feet a little wider than hips. Let's inhale and press down through the feet, engage the glutes, just lift those hips up off the floor, and exhale to lower back down and repeat. So you're inhaling up, put a little pressure into the back of your head so you can keep that natural curve in your neck rather than pressing the neck down. Good. Next time you calm down, just pause, notice how you feel. All right, now we're going to try to come up into bridge pose again, but sequentially, okay? So we're going to press the low back down and then slowly tilt the tail forward. So you just start to peel the tail off the floor and then the low back. You can keep breathing, go as high as you'd like, and then on the way down, reversing that. Good, and repeat. Pressing low back down, lengthening tail forward, coming up, and lowering down. Now, if you want to, you could try to hold in bridge pose. Feel all 10 of your toes, the balls of your feet, the heels of your feet. See if you can feel your glute muscles working, your thighs, your hamstrings. Really engage those legs and work your feet. Good, and then slowly coming down. When you get down, let's draw your knees into your chest. Give them a squeeze. All right, we're going to roll over onto our bellies. You can always flip yourself around to face whatever way you'd like to face. Coming into Sphinx pose to start. So you can be down here like this with the elbows wide and the palms stacked, or you could be up on your forearms with your hands forward. Let's practice pressing the pubic bone down to the floor and then spreading across your collarbones. Good. Inhale and exhale. And again, inhaling and exhale. Yeah, lowering down. You can either prop your forehead or put your head to one side or be on your chin. Okay, we're going to bend the right knee. And when you bend the right knee, you might feel that your glute loosens up. My foot is facing the ceiling, the sole of my foot. I'm going to press the pubic bone down now. Okay. Now from here, I'm going to try to just inhale and lift my knee off the floor, and exhale, bring it back down. Now you might get a little hamstring cramp, so you can just work it out if you do. And we're working on this hip extension. So we're not lifting your hip off the floor at all. So it's going to be a very small movement. Hip is staying on the floor, that front hip point. Pubic bone is even staying on the floor. So we're really trying to isolate that hip. Let's do one more. Then come down, straighten out the leg. Just wiggle, waggle the legs down there. And now let's do the second side. So we'll bend the left knee. Then press the pubic bone down. We're going to keep this hip bone down. And when you're ready, inhale, just a little lift. Exhale down. So it might be like an inch or less off the floor. It might be a couple inches. And then coming down. Again, shaking the legs out. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, but with the legs straight, okay? So we're going to keep that pubic bone on the floor. Press the pubic bone down. Feel like you're really trying to point your toe. And if you get a foot cramp, roll up a towel, put it underneath your ankle, okay? So we'll work just the right leg to start. Going to inhale, lift the leg up, trying to keep it totally straight. Exhale down. Again, the hip point, front hip point, the ASIS is staying on the floor, so it's not a big lift at all. Trying to really tighten the legs, so we don't want to be feeling this in your low back. And if you have trouble doing that, like getting off the floor at all in either of these poses, it could be just that you don't have a lot of range in the front of your hip flexors, or the back of your leg and glute might be weak, either one. Okay, and then come down and wiggle, waggle the legs, and we're going to do the other side, same thing, okay? So inhale, lift, exhale, release. You're pointing through that left ankle. You're engaging the whole leg, keeping that front of the hip down. Okay, calm down, little wiggle waggle of the legs. Let's bend both knees and upside down windshield wipers here, just letting the lower legs go side to side, let the hips move around. All right, back to center, legs down. Inhale back to Sphinx pose. And then as you exhale, let's reach the right leg forward and twist around to look like you're trying to look at your left foot. And then inhale back to the center. And exhale, left arm stretches forward. Look around like you're trying to look to the right. And again, both sides. Good, back to the center. From here, we're gonna come onto your side. So I'm gonna be on my right side. You can be on your right side as well, but just get to where you can see me. So I'm gonna be on my right forearm, like so. Okay, so my hand is facing you. My right elbow is more or less below my right shoulder. My knees are bent and stacked here. Okay. Let's get yourself set up there and then see if you can press into that or out of that right shoulder so you open up across your collarbones. And then as you exhale, could you lift off that bottom hip and just see if you can hold yourself up here. Keep breathing. Could have your hand on your hip. Could also take your hand to the back of your head. Take another breath here. Good, and then lower back down. Good, you guys. Okay, so if that was enough challenge for you, if you felt like that was challenging on your shoulder, I'm gonna stay with that one again. If you would like more of a challenge or you want to give it a try, you could try to do this with straight legs, like coming up. I'll show you like that, okay? What I've got is my top leg on the floor in front of my bottom leg, just slightly. And I've got the inner foot on the floor, okay? I'm gonna have my other hand, I'll probably bring it behind my head, so I bring my head back, but I'll start with it on my hip. Shoulder, bottom shoulder, same thing, moving out of that shoulder, okay? And when you're ready, inhale and exhale, rising up. Either you can have bent knees, right? Or all the way up. Try to take a couple of breaths there, just noticing how this feels in your body. Try to really lift that bottom hip away from the floor. Keep breathing. And then lower back down. Let's bend the knees here and bring them forward. And now let's take the forearms down, like almost like a sphinx or a forearm plank type of thing on the side, and just let your neck relax. So you're in a little bit of a twist. Your nose is facing the space between your arms. Let's take a big inhale to the space between your shoulder blades. And exhale. And again. And exhale. All right, let's slowly lift up so you're seated and we'll go on to the left side. You can change positions so you can see or whatever you need to do. Put my left forearm down. Knees are stacked. And it spread across my shoulders or my collarbones and lift out of that left shoulder. Inhale. As you exhale, you're going to see what it feels like on this side to try to lift the hip off the floor. Try to bring the back of your head in line with your upper back. Keep breathing. And when you're ready, lowering down. All right, so we're going to try it again. Again, you can do the bent knee or the straight leg version. I'll show the straight leg version. I'm going to take my legs out in front. The top leg, the right leg, is in front of the left, big toe edge on the floor. My arm is set up the same. Inhale to lift out of the shoulder and exhale to lift. Your hand could be on your hip or behind your head. Breathing. See if you can take 3 or more breaths here. Long exhales, lifting that bottom hip away from the floor. Good. And when you're ready, lowering down, bending those knees, bringing them forward, turning towards your left, placing the forearms parallel on the floor, and relax your neck. As you inhale, breathing into the space between your shoulder blades. Long exhale. Good. And then slowly lifting yourself up. You're going to come around, to that first side, to the right side again. Okay. Now, let's actually do this variation. I think it'll be better suited for you guys today. You can come down onto your arm or make a pillow or put your head on a block. Okay. And I'm going to keep the feet together as we open up the knees like a clamshell, but I'm not going to let this top hip rock back. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep my hips straight up and down. You can put your hand on your hip to notice that, okay? And whenever you're ready, inhale, open the knee, and exhale, go halfway down. And then inhale, open the knee, exhale, halfway down, and repeat. Good, now let's try to lift the legs parallel to one another. That's our starting point. And then we're still opening up the top knee and then closing it and repeating. Still not letting that top hip roll back, so it could be really small movement. Good. Okay, let's bring that knee down and just come onto your back. I'm even keeping my block there behind my head. I'm going to cross the left ankle, that top leg, ankle over the right thigh, and press the left knee away. Okay, now you can stay here, or you can come into thread the needle pose by lifting that bottom foot off the floor and threading the left hand through the eye of the needle there and breathing for a few breaths in this stretch. So it's like we're stretching out the muscle we just worked here. Take a big wide inhale. Long exhale, you could blow out through pursed lips if you'd like. Good. All right, let's release. We're going to roll onto the other side, or you can flip your body around. So we're trying to strengthen these outer hips here and just build awareness, right? Strengthening all around the hip joint. All right, so you can prop your head. Remember, your top hand could come to your hip, and we're just going to inhale, opening up that top knee. Exhale, close. Feet stay together. Okay. And just notice any tendency to kind of rock back, try to keep that vertical line through the hips. Notice how much range you have here in this hip abduction. Okay, now we're going to take the shins parallel. So you're lifting the knee off the floor, the ankle and the knee have the same distance between them. And this will be our starting point. And then we inhale to open like a clamshell, exhale, come back to that elevated start and repeat. So trying to keep yourself from rocking back. So it might be a really small motion here. Good, and release. Let's come onto the back, figure four or thread the needle pose. Inhale to reach the right leg up, exhale, crossing the ankle, and then either staying here, pressing the knee away, or you could thread the needle. Let's take about 5 slow breaths here. Good. All right, gonna release. Can roll onto your side to press yourself up. Okay, from here we're gonna continue with the hips here and sit in a side seat. I'm sitting with my right leg forward to start, but it doesn't really matter because we're gonna switch, okay? So I'm going to start with swivel seats. Now, for some people, it might not be possible to do this. Okay, so let me show you. I can put my hands behind me and I'm trying to keep my feet on the floor, but I roll over them and take the knees down to the other side and then come back. Okay, so this is one option. Okay. Another way to do this, if this is too much, like you can't do it or it's painful, is to do a seated windshield wiper, okay, where you're not doing it as deeply. All right, so that would look like this. Okay, I'm gonna keep showing the swivel seat. Another option for the swivel seat would be to do it without your hands behind you, okay. And noticing and moving. So regardless, making sure you're getting some movement through your hips. So we're not staying still in one position here. We're really moving through our hips, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. Then adding in, putting one hand down and twisting around when you get to one side, and then coming around to the other side and twisting. And doing that back and forth. And then pick a side to hang out in. So I'm going to twist around. I might stay high like this, reaching the arm high. I might decide I want to come down to my forearm and reach low. You can see what angle feels best to you. Keep breathing. Good, and then switching sides. Good, and now coming out. All right, nice, you guys. Let's take the feet in front like this with knees bent. Now, I'm going to give you a couple options for this. One of them will involve seated on a chair instead, okay? So I will show that in just a moment. I'm going to show the floor first. Okay, so the hands come behind you. The fingers can point any direction, all right? And inhale and roll the shoulder heads back. So you're getting really wide across the front of the chest. Exhale, just stay here, squeezing the shoulder blades behind your back a little bit, just getting a big opening, feeling balls and heels of feet on the floor. Good, and relax. All right, so probably everybody might be able to do that variation, right? And now we're gonna try to lift the hips off the floor. Now, when you do this, if you know that your wrists aren't gonna be able to do it, give it a try. And if it's not gonna work, you could also do fists on the floor or even holding your blocks, okay? And then I'll show the chair as an option too. Okay, so on the floor, inhale, broad across the collarbones. Exhale, you're gonna try to press in the feet and lift those hips up high, okay? And take a couple breaths there and then come down. You might roll out the wrists. I'm going to show it in the chair for those that can't bear weight through their shoulders or wrists, okay? I'm going to do that again. So you can be doing it from the floor or you can be doing it in the chair. Right on the chair, it looks like this. I walk my feet out. I open up across the collarbones, inhale, and then exhale, same thing, holding the side of the chair, pressing into the feet, lifting the hips up. So I'm like in a long slant if I'm doing it on the chair. Another breath and come down. And roll the wrists around. We're gonna do one more, okay? So you're either doing chair or floor. And I wanna just show you something. So again, we're going a little bit past our hip neutral into a bit of hip extension. Hip extension means when your hips, oh gosh, when your leg goes behind your hip, basically, right? So you can see that even here, if I only could lift here, this isn't any hip extension, right? I'm still got my hips flexed. When I get into here, I get through neutral, right? And then this is a little bit past it. So you're trying to judge like what your hips can move like. That's what you're trying to feel into and see if you have that flexibility or maybe it's strength, all right? So let's give it a try. When you're ready, inhale and exhale, lifting hips off the floor. Whatever height you can do it, try to stay a couple breaths using your glutes. And then come back down. Nice work. If you're in the chair, you can just stay in the chair. Okay, if you're on the floor, let's stay there. Everybody straighten your legs out in front. Good. And just inhale, pull your toes back towards your shin. Exhale, point and repeat. You could always have your hands planted on the floor next to you, or you could sit against a piece of furniture. All right, let's come up. So you can come onto your feet using the bear get up. And when you stand up, take your time, but when you get there, inhale to reach the arms up. Exhale, take the arms out to the sides and down, and let's do that 2 more times. Good. All right, taking the arms out to the side with the palms a little lower than your shoulders. Let's inhale and make stop signs, palms out to the side. You can spread your fingers wide, and then exhale, make fists, and fold the wrist down into flexion, and repeat. Inhale, stop signs. Exhale, fist, and down. 2 more. Good, and then just bringing the arms down. Let's inhale, squeeze the shoulders up, and exhale, drop, and repeat. Now squeeze them back. Inhale, squeeze them behind you. Exhale, release. Good, and now let's hula hoop the hips. We'll keep the hips a little soft. Start to take them to the side, front, side, back. Repeat. Notice how you feel side to side. Is there any difference? And now let's reverse the circle. All right, coming back to the center, let's stand tall in Tadasana or mountain pose. So feet can be any distance that feels good, and get yourself a focal point. So just something to look at steadily out in front of you. Inhale, feel all 10 of your toes reaching the top of your head toward the ceiling. And exhale, long exhale. And repeat. All right, we're gonna do tree pose. And so I'm gonna be bending the knee forward and then turning the knee out. So what we'll try to do here is to do this without any balance support if possible. So that might mean that you're keeping your toes on the floor and your heel on your ankle, or you might come up higher, okay? When you're in this, you don't want to be sitting into this standing hip. You want to be lifted through your center. Okay, so when you're ready, get your focal point, inhale, and then exhale, turn the knee out to the side, bringing it to whatever height. As you keep your eyes calm, you can take your palms to touch in front of your chest if you'd like. Engage that standing leg, glute and leg. You could even take the arms up if you want to. Good, and then come down. Knee comes forward and then down. All right, so just noticing how that side felt as far as strength and balance. Let's go to the second side. Getting your focal point. Inhale to stand tall. Exhale, knee bends forward and then turns out at any height. Remember, you can have a little kickstand down there if you want. Stay lifted out of that bottom leg hip. Palms could touch in front, or they could reach up or out to the sides. Work at a level where you can be challenged, but that you're able to do it without support possibly, okay? And then when you're ready, come on down. Let's take the feet wide and just a little swing and twist. Okay, so you may have noticed like one leg was stronger or more capable than the other, either with strength or balance. It's just information for you to work with, right? And to know what needs more work, what needs more strength. All right, for this next one, let's come to a wall if you have it, or something higher than the back of the chair if you have it. Okay, and we're going to be, again, working on some building hip strength, okay? So what we'll do, and I'll show you first, is we're going to come into a variation of Warrior 3, but really just a one-legged balance, okay? And we'll hinge at the hips. I'm going to inhale in front of the wall. I'm going to exhale, hands to the wall, and I'm going to hinge at the hips. So it's actually not about the balance, it's about turning this hip to face the floor. You might need to bend the standing leg a little bit like this, okay? And that's fine. Just don't want to be like this. See the difference here? My knee is forward of my toe. Here, my knee is over my ankle. Okay, so my hip is back. My one leg is turned to the floor. It doesn't matter which side you're doing. I'm just going to breathe. until and you're going to start to feel, hopefully your standing leg hip working to hold you up here. Try to just breathe in for a count of 3, out for a count of 4 or 5. Keep going if you can. My weight is in my standing leg heel, so I can tap my foot if I wanted to. That's how I can be sure I'm working that hip. All right, and then coming out, just step side to side. Take a sigh or two. All right, let's do the second side. All right, so you're getting whatever distance you feel you need to be. We're gonna hinge at the hips, hands to the surface, okay? Weight in the heels, you could even try that now. Just tap the feet and either get closer to the wall if you need to, wherever you need to be able to do that. Then slowly lifting the other leg, keeping the hips square to the floor. Doesn't matter how high the back leg goes. It's more about getting those hips square, having your weight in your standing leg heel so you start to work the hip. Keep going. Long inhale. Long exhale, wide inhale. All right, coming out as you're ready. Let's take your hands to your surface. So if you're using the wall, you can put your hands on the wall or your piece of furniture. We're gonna do down dog at the wall or on your furniture. Hinging at the hips. Your knees could always be bent here to try to get length through your spine. See if you can manage to get your ears between your arms if you have that range of mobility in your shoulders. You might not. You might have to be higher up if your shoulders are tight or injured. So just noticing it for yourself. Good. Now let's slowly come out, walk toward the wall, and let your arms come down. Good. All right, let's inhale, roll the shoulders up. You can step away from your wall. Exhale, take them down your back. Let's do that 2 more times. So we've been working a lot on the hips lately. And last week we were working on agility, moving from pose to pose. You can always return to that. But in the past weeks, if you go through the video library, you can find stuff that's focused on hip mobility, hip strength if you need it, right? Just search through there and find stuff that works for you. We have clips as well as full length videos. Okay, from here, we're gonna do another hip thing. I'm gonna take the feet wide. You might have your chair in front of you for support. I've got my heels, so they're by wide here. Mine are slightly wider than my shoulders, okay? So not like as wide as I can go, but a little wider than my shoulders. Got my toes turned out. I'm going to be bending my knees and I'm going to try to have my knees line up so that I can see my big toes when I bend the knees, okay? And then just straighten up. Now, if that doesn't work, because that requires some opening through the hips, right? If that didn't work, you couldn't see your big toes or it hurt, don't open your feet as wide, okay? So you just open them less wide and then rebend. All right, so you're just trying to find where is the position that works for your own body to get the knee lined up over the heel. Like, for example, I'm noticing I need to go wider with my feet actually because I want to bend quite a bit. Okay, nice. And to get those knees to open so that you can see the big toe, and then straighten back up. So this is goddess pose, called horse pose sometimes. Okay, we're gonna try it again. Bending down. So it's a big opening through here, right? And then come up. Okay, now we're gonna add in some arms. So when we come up, let's try to really feel the balls and heels of the feet. So I've got my feet pretty wide now, so it's a little tippy, right? I'm gonna really try to ground through the balls and heels of my feet. Can get a focal point. When I rise up, I'm gonna inhale, and if you feel balanced, can take arms up and maybe even look up. And then as I exhale, I'm gonna bend the knees, bend the elbows, and my gaze comes forward. Good, and let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, rise. Feel those feet grounding. You might change your gaze if you feel balanced, and then exhale. Bend. Oh, that feels good. It's a good stretch through my adductors, my adductors. Good. You can hold this if you want. All right, let's take the hands behind the head if possible. And then exhale, twist to one side, just the torso. Inhale back to center. Exhale, try to twist the chest to the other side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, straighten legs, arms come down. Let's wiggle the feet closer, but still shoulders distance. Inhale, then exhale, side bend here. Inhale back up. I'm sliding my hand down my legs, noticing that connection, that touch, the texture of whatever I'm wearing, as well as getting feedback on how far feels okay in my body to lean. Good, coming back up. So you'll notice we've moved through a lot of movements of the hips today, but also of the spine, right? So we've done twisting of the spine with our windshield wipers, right? We've done flexing of the spine with our rounding and arching, okay? We've done side bending, okay? That's the spine moving in all its directions. Let's come down onto our hands and knees because we actually haven't done that much rounding of the spine. We've done a lot of this with our Sphinx pose and our bridge poses, but let's come down onto hands and knees before we come onto our backs. Okay, you can always be on forearms for this. We're just going to go through some cats and cows and see how it feels. All right, so we're gonna inhale, tail up, chest forward, and exhale and round. Just noticing how your spine is feeling. Which position feels better? Where do you have more range? Are there parts of your spine that move easier than other parts? And then as you're ready to, we will come onto our backs. You can have your blanket nearby for head and neck support. Well, first we'll try another twist and with some hip opening too, or hip stretching. So I'm gonna take my right leg and cross it over the left, not as a figure 4 when the ankle is crossed, but instead I've got my thighs crossed, kind of like a typical sitting cross-legged. I'm gonna inhale, open the arms. You might need a pillow or a block because I'm gonna take these knees down to the left into a cross-legged twist. So if I wanted to, I could take a block or a pillow, and you can see I can put it below my knees or my bottom thigh for a little extra support. If this position doesn't feel right, you can change it, of course. Spreading those arms out. Let's take 4 more breaths. And relax your face and your jaw. And now on your next exhale, you can try to engage your abdominals and bring the knees up, uncrossing. Inhale to cross the left thigh over, and exhale to take the knees over to the right. You can move your prop over. And same thing, about 4 slow breaths here. And now on your next exhale, try to engage your abdominals and bring those knees up to center. Uncross the legs. Let's straighten the legs out on the floor here. And we're gonna try to just bring your arms at your sides, okay? We're gonna try to tighten all of our muscles, okay? So tighten your legs, tighten your glutes, even tighten your arms. You can make fists if you want. You can even tighten your face if you want. And then release it. Let's try that 2 more times. Tighten everything. And release. 1 more time. And release. Good. Now get yourself comfortable for Shavasana or resting pose. If it doesn't feel good to be just flat on the floor, you can feel free to get any props or change positions, okay? But get yourself set up, or if there's any last poses you want to do, go for that. Good, and once you've found your position, gotten everything you need to feel comfortable, you might widen your legs a little bit, you might widen your arms. Just taking a sigh again. Can let go of your breath control. Notice the whole backside of your body, where you're touching the floor or your props. And then noticing the whole front side of your body. And now, as if you were divided right down your midline, can you try to take your attention to the left side of your body? And now the right side of your body. Okay, how about from the waist to your head, the top half of your body, taking your attention there? And now from your hips to your toes, the bottom half. Good. And now can you notice your whole body at once, spreading your attention to every part of your body. And now letting go of all effort. Don't have to do anything.